What are you making?
A lion. I'm making a lion.
A lion? So this is, who's this?
Mufasa. And that's the baby. I'm making the baby right now. Don't touch it.
What are these? Are these legs?
And that's his tail.
Yeah. And that's his face.
Oh yeah, soaking up the sun, Jasmine, huh?
Oh, you're hot now. You're laying it. Whoa, okay. So, this one's Mufasa, you said. So who's this one?
Nala.
And who's that one?
Simba. And this is me.
You make those all by yourself? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I forgot to do Sarabi.
Ah, you'll have to do Sarabi next time.
Yeah. I should make these lions a little smaller than Simba.
And then you can do more lions.
Bye. I'll miss you.
I miss you too. Oh, be a good girl, okay?
I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Bye, Papa.
Come on.
I love you so much, baby girl.
I love you so much. Bye. I don't want to be in here.
Where do you want to be?
In your truck.
Oh, I know, but my truck is in the shop again. Alright. Ready? Alright.
Here we go.
Here we go. On the road again. Sad to see the Kadries on the road again. Okay, so on the road to Cameron, Arizona. This is a tough day. I've talked to you guys about it a few times, but it's always tough to have Kae leave. You know, tough to have Kae leave us, and it's great for her, great for her mom. Get some time together and spend 3 weeks, and then she'll come back up here. You having a good drive?
No,
No, why not?
I'm getting tired.
You are.
I'm gonna take a nap.
You're gonna take a nap? Alright, you can take a nap. Man, I kind of wish I could take a nap.
I'm tired too.
Yeah, I'm a little bit tired. Man, this is one of the coolest places on this little drive here. So, just to show you some of the stuff that we get to see along this here drive. So off over there, that's the south end of Zion National Park. Gorgeous. The camera doesn't actually do it justice just because of how grand these things actually are. It's kind of like looking at most pictures of the Grand Canyon. It's just like, okay, whatever, it's just a canyon. But then you're there and you're just like full on immersed in it. And you can't escape how awesome it is and how all-encompassing and huge that canyon really is. That's kind of how Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon and the Escalante Wilderness, all that stuff, all this area here, southern Utah, is just so grand. The depth is unreal. So right now we are about 2.5 hours from Cameron, Arizona, where we do our midway meetups. Still gonna drive through the forest. That's my favorite part. Kadri, do you like driving through the forest?
No,
No, why not?
it's scary in the woods.
Scary in the woods?
I hope there are monsters in there.
Oh no, no monsters in these woods.
Let's go check and see.
Okay, we'll go. We'll go check and see. Yeah, so we drive through the forest in the Jacob Lake area in the north end of the North Rim State Park, the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Kae calls it the woods, and you know, it's a neat area. Yeah, I really enjoy it up there. That's where I camped out a couple of months ago with Jazz. On the trip we went to go pick up Kae. Looks like we got a fire going on.
A fire going on?
Yeah.
Where?
Smoke cruising between those trees.
Let's go see what's wrong from that fire.
It just looks like a controlled burn. Looks like they're burning it on purpose.
Why?
Well, you get all this little grass underneath, you get all the grass that's on the ground, and it's all really dangerous to have on the ground because it catches on fire really easy when there's lightning. So sometimes they'll burn it. They burn it on purpose so that it doesn't burn by accident and make a big fire.
I don't want it to be on accident.
I know. They don't want it to be an accident either, so they burn it on purpose. You see all the smoke, all the black?
That fire?
They're doing a controlled burn in here.
Oh, I see all that fire.
Yep, there you go. Making forest fires. Oh, smells like a barbecue. Like a big barbecue. Hopefully there's not a lot of animals getting torched. Another one of my favorite sections of the drive right here. It's just so pretty. You know, you got these big ponderosa pine trees intermixed with some oak trees, and then all of that scattered around with these cool cliffs. Up here you also see there's a very defined line where we pop out of the ponderosas and kind of into the next zone. So I like being in these transition zones where you see kind of a little bit of like two worlds meeting up together. You know, transitioning from a pinyon juniper to a ponderosa. It's just kind of neat. It's neat to see it because you have plants there that grow in both, and also sometimes like don't really grow in either. They only grow in that middle ground. So it's fun. So this is the transitional area right here. So we have a couple of ponderosa pines, but then a lot of pinyon pines, juniper trees starting to pop up, and then yeah, just a couple of ponderosas. But you also get all this scrub oak and manzanita, sagebrush, and all that stuff that you don't get up in like the Jacob Lake area where it's like pure ponderosa forest, and then you have some ferns and grasses and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun. I like the transition areas. So, you know, now all of this is all pinyon pine. A lot shorter, a lot more wiry, and I guess wild looking, you could say. Wilder looking trees. Harder to hike through and walk through and stuff. More brambly. And then all the scrub oak and the manzanita and the cliff rose and stuff like that doesn't really help with that feel. Bushwhacking in this area, hiking off trail in this area is a lot more difficult than it would have been 3 miles ago in the pure ponderosa area. Okay, so this is an interesting spot because there is a pretty big elevation difference between Utah and Arizona. So the north rim of the Grand Canyon is 1,000 feet higher than the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So to get to Cameron, Arizona, we drive around the east side of the Grand Canyon. So we end up doing that 1,000-foot drop. Now from the Grand Canyon, it's crazy. You can't really tell when you're standing on the north rim looking at the south rim. You can't tell that it's a full 1,000 feet lower, because the canyon itself is like 6,000 feet deep or something like that. It's over a mile deep. So it's like, okay, if it's 6,000 feet deep, it's like what's a 1,000? It's no big deal. But that's one of the reasons that the south rim of the Grand Canyon is so much more densely visited. First off, it's more developed, but it's also a lot better view. So when you're standing on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, the south rim is 1,000 feet shorter. If you're standing on the south rim, that means that the north rim is 1,000 feet taller. So you have 1,000 feet of extra wall that you're looking at. So it's cheaper to go to the north rim, and there's less people there, but you just have 1,000 foot less of a wall that you're looking at. But that wall is 6 miles away, so it doesn't really matter too much. So you want to know what a 1,000-foot wall looks like? What you're missing out on when you're standing on the north rim of the Grand Canyon looking at the south rim? That wall right there is 1,000 feet high almost. That is the elevation difference between Utah and Arizona. And yeah, so that's the Utah-Arizona drop-off. Hey, baby Kae. Wake up, baby. There's the kid. Guys, it's so hard. Struggle is real, people. Struggle is real. That kid just tears at my heart. I can't even express. I love her so much. That's one of the things that keeps me getting up every day, motivated to better myself, improve myself. I want to make sure that I'm being the best that I can be for her. You know, she pushes me. She pushes me to be a better person. Can't even say how much I love her. She's really something. Okay guys, so today is 9/11. Today marks the 15th anniversary of the terrorist attacks that happened in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania on September 11th, 2001. On that day, 19 terrorists took control of 4 commercial flights. Those were American Airlines Flight 11 and Flight 77, and United Flights 93 and 175, and ultimately ended nearly 3,000 people's lives. I remember some aspects of that day pretty vividly, and I'll just share with you what the timeline looked like for me. So I attended an early morning church class every morning as a part of school, but I was homeschooled with my brothers and I, and so I was with my older brother at this early morning church class. When we got home from that early morning class, normally we would have about an hour or so to eat breakfast and kind of goof off before our mom would come out and be like, okay, buckling down and starting school. So we didn't usually see her for about a half hour or so after we got home. But this particular morning, we got home and she was sitting on the couch watching the TV. And we hadn't heard what was going on. We didn't know that anything had happened. So we walked in and she said, come here guys, you just need to sit down and watch this. And the first tower had been hit already. And we sat down and were just awestruck. I remember just sitting there in silence as we watched the news, and the reporter on the news was saying that they didn't know if it was an accident or some sort of attack. All that they knew was that there was an explosion and that they thought that it was an airplane that had crashed into the Trade Center. And then it was about 2 minutes later that the second tower, the South Tower, got hit. And we watched that live. You know, I was 14 years old, and you know, so much confusion immediately popped into my mind of just why would this happen? Why would somebody do this? And still at that point, when that second tower got hit, there was no formal announcement of terrorists or anything like that. It wasn't until a few minutes later that the news reporters got word that it was indeed terrorists that were hijacking these planes, and they knew that because of the passengers on board Flight 93 who were able to make phone calls to their families and loved ones and use the radio to transmit that there was hijackers on that plane, and that they were going to try and take the plane back. The passengers and crew were going to try and take that plane back. That was the plane that crash landed in a field in Pennsylvania before it could reach its intended target of Washington, D.C., the capital. So we're sitting there watching all of this unfold, and about an hour after we sat down and started watching, that was when the South Tower fell. And again, these thoughts going through my mind of this can't be real, and just wondering what was going to happen now, thinking that the whole world was changing. And then nearly a half hour after that was when the North Tower fell, an hour and 45 minutes after getting hit. And almost immediately after the North Tower fell, Flight 77 was crashed into the Pentagon, killing a bunch of military and government personnel there. And all throughout the rest of that day, we didn't do anything. We didn't do school. We didn't go out and play. We stayed there together as a family. We kept the TV on. We watched as all of these things unfolded, as for the first time ever, all air traffic in the United States was stopped. All the planes were forced to land, and all the while my 14-year-old mind was just turning, just why, how, what would cause a person to get to the point where they could hijack these planes, altogether having more than 200 innocent people on board, and crash them. I've always enjoyed reading military books, spy books, watching those types of movies, but that's one thing that never made any sense to me, is when people targeted civilians. Targeting the Pentagon and targeting the Capitol building and things like that, you know, that makes some sense. Gives you a tactical advantage, I guess, you know, like, okay, we're going to cripple their defenses, and we're going to cripple their intelligence. But to take airplanes full of innocent civilians and use those as your weapons, or to take some of those planes and crash them into buildings just because you know that there are thousands and thousands of people that are going there every day for work, is mind-boggling to me. And even now, 15 years later, it doesn't make any sense to me. And one of the things that I think about on days like this is the same thing that I thought 15 years ago, sitting on the couch in my family room with my family, watching the news, watching all of this stuff unfold. And that is, Is the world changing as I know it, as I'm watching this? And I believe the world did change that day. A lot of things in the world have been different since then. Some of them for the better, some of them for the worse. And, you know, we never know when something like that is going to happen. And we can never prepare ourselves really for it either. All we can do is wake up every day and try and make that day better than the last. The people that were on board those airplanes were not expecting to have the struggles that they dealt with that day. And I think about the strength of those passengers and crew members aboard Flight 93 who managed to take back that plane and prevent another high-profile target from being hit. The courage that it must have taken, that's the courage that we need to take from days like today. The strength to get up every day, to improve yourself, to make each day better, to throw out kind words at the people that we come in contact with every day, to lift each other up and build each other up. We have to be there for each other and support each other. The biggest thing that's still remembered from 9/11, aside from the lives that were lost and the damage that was done, is the camaraderie and the sense of community and unity that was built through that. As the nation went through this difficult experience together, it pulled us all together. Our hearts all bled for the families and the victims. It's a hard thing for me to talk about tragedies like this. And there are still tragedies that happen in the world every day. And there are people who make it their life's goal to hurt and to deprive and lash out in anger towards other people. And it's up to us to stand against them and to throw out positivity and love and admiration, appreciation for the people that we surround ourselves with every day, and to share that we can hopefully build up somebody else that's around us. That's how we combat the evil that's in the world today. We combat it with love, with kindness, with generosity, and with compassion. That's what I strive to do every day, is just build people up, make people feel better, and make people smile in the hope that we can, with our positivity, outweigh all of the negativity that's in the world today. So join with me on that endeavor. Try and lift somebody up today. Try and make somebody smile, make somebody laugh. Help somebody to feel important and loved and unique and special. That's the journey we're all on. That's the way to combat the evils in the world like 9/11. The evil will always be there, and we need to try and outweigh it with the positive. And we can do it. We can. We just need to believe, and we need to wake up every day and try and make ourselves better, and try and spread that love and that compassion and that individuality that we each hold around to the people that are around us. So today, I hope you know how awesome you are. I hope you know how special and unique and amazing you are. You have the ability to lift somebody that nobody else can lift. You have the ability to inspire people around you to do good things, to do hard things. Sometimes we need to understand that the difficult things are usually those things that are best for us, and that we can push through those difficult things so that we can become better. I hope you know how awesome you are. I told Kae about mantras the other day, and telling yourself that you're good enough and telling yourself that you can do it. At first, she had struggles. I didn't catch it on camera, but at first she struggled to say, I can do this, to say the words, I can do this. She didn't want to say it. She didn't believe it. And by the end of that struggle that she was working through of riding her bike down this scary hill, she was saying it with confidence. And not only was she saying it with confidence, it was helping her to do it. She was starting to believe it because she said it to herself over and over and over again. So I want you to know that you can do it. I want you to know that you're good enough, that you're strong enough, that you're an amazing person. And if it takes you standing up in front of the mirror and telling yourself that time and time and time again until you believe it and until you can live it, then do it. Stand up in front of that mirror and tell yourself every day you wake up that you are awesome and that you have the ability to do great and hard things. And that you have the ability to push through these things and become better and inspire people and share that love and that inspiration and that genuine humanity with others. You're awesome. I hope you know it. Tell yourself until you do. Make it an awesome day for yourself today. And remember the people who have come before us, who have given sometimes the ultimate sacrifice to show us what true courage and what true strength means. Combat that negativity with your positive light and your energy. Make it an awesome day. You deserve it. Peace out, everybody. Take care.